If anyone can figure that, oh, there we go. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order at 4:36 p.m. on the 27th of January. Howdy, howdy, everyone. Rocking and rolling. Let's just kick this off. VP Shockey, could you be so kind to do a roll call, please?
Yes, so President Green,
Here.
VP Labella is not here. All right, I am here. VP Lindert. All right, Advisor Rome. I think she's in the meeting. Okay.
She's currently here.
Senator Ciardelli, I believe, is absent. All right. Senator Willis.
Present.
All right. Senator Zebel.
Present.
All right. And Senator Zhang.
Present.
All right. Perfect.
Cool. Like that. All right, moving on down. We did not get a chance for the minutes today. Tried but didn't make it happen. So we're just gonna move on to reading and approval of the meeting agenda for today. Everyone should know where that is located in the meeting materials folder on SharePoint. It was also sent out via email by VP Shockey. Senator Willis, do you have a question?
No, I was going to move to approve the agenda.
I like your style. All right, and I also see that VP Labella is in here. VP Lindert, is that a second?
Yes, it is.
All right, awesome. So with this cool hand feature that we've got going on in WebEx, all those in favor, can you please use the hand raising feature now and keep your hands up? All right, cool. And you can put your hands down. And all those opposed, put your hands up, please. And put your hands down. And any oppositions, put your hands up. And put your hands down. All right, and that passes. Moving on down now to public comments with our open education resources. Our guest today, Rachel Becker. She's our librarian. So I'm gonna let you take it away, Rachel. And it looks like you've got 20 minutes on the clock, starting at 4:39 p.m.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So, my name is Rachel Becker. I am a librarian here at Madison College, along with all of the other things that librarians do here at the college. My specialty is open educational resources. So I'm going to do a really short presentation today. I'm going to provide some resources for you, and I will share the presentation afterwards with you so that you will be able to go through, take a look at it, and get the links that I have in it for you to explore later. So just kind of bear with me while I plow through this, and then I will let you ask questions afterwards. So I'm going to stop my video for now, and then I'm going to share my screen. All right, so I'm going to do that. Share the PowerPoint, make it big. Okay, what's OER and what can it do for me? So open educational resources in student success. We're going to talk a little bit about OER basics and these, so just a broad definition of what open educational resources are. They're open educational resources are teaching, learning, and research materials in any medium. So they can be digital, they can be in print, that reside in the public domain. And a lot of this is just, it gets really technical. So you don't need to worry about it unless you're really into this sort of thing, which I am, but
Yeah,
that's just because I have to be.
I don't mean to interrupt, Rachel, but we cannot see your screen if you're sharing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just raising my hand to say something.
I did not click the share button, so let me, thank you for letting me know that. All right, now you should be able to see it. All right.
Yep.
Okay. So. There we go. Okay. So, looking back at what we were talking about before is open educational resources are teaching, learning, and research materials in any medium, digital or otherwise, that reside in the public domain that have been released under an open license that permits no cost access, use, adaptation, and redistribution by others with no or limited restrictions. So basically this means that when you have a regular textbook that you've purchased for your class, it means that you get to just use that textbook as is. Your instructor can't make copies of it generally. That's why you have to keep purchasing the textbook over and over again. Your instructor doesn't get to just make copies of it and post it in Blackboard for every other student to access. But with OER, you would get to use a free version of the textbook over and over again. You could use it even after your class is done. So there's a lot of advantages with this. And what really makes it work is copyright law, and specifically something called Creative Commons licenses. And this is something that the people who create these OERs specifically go in and choose to do. So when your instructor or people, whoever it is, instructors, students, create OERs, they've decided that they don't want to write these under a normal copyright, that they've, excuse me, that they want to give up that, and they want everybody to be able to use it under this OER license, this Creative Commons license. So it's really a way that people who create content are able to make sure that everyone out there can use it in a really great way, that and a lot of freedom. And there's some considerations with how OER is used, and it must allow for what's called the 5 R's. And there's a graphic on the right hand side of the screen here that talks about the 5 R's, that you have to be able to make and own copies, use it in a wide range of ways, adapt, modify, and improve upon it, and combine 2 or more resources and share it with others. And that's all just a lot of ways to say that unlike traditional textbooks where you have one version of it that's owned by, the copyright is owned by a company, for example, these are owned basically by everybody, and so everybody can take this content and make it their own. So traditional learning material versus OER learning material. When you have your traditional textbook, so Principles of Chemistry, for example, it's written by paid experts. So your instructor, for example, may be one of these paid experts. It may be somebody who's a chemist, and they're paid to write this book. The updates may include new graphics, text design, or it may include new content. You never really know when a new edition comes out exactly what's going on in there. As we all know, the resale value sharply diminishes once a new edition comes, once you purchase the book and then you go to resell it. And from the faculty perspective, faculty are locked into that static content of this textbook. So they really have to teach what's in that textbook. Or you may, from the student perspective, see this kind of one size fits all approach where your instructor is kind of locked into teaching this, what's in this book, or they may choose to use just a small part of the book and then kind of build in all of this other content through articles or other things, which from a student perspective, that's not always the most satisfying learning experience. And for students who are coming from a place where they need accommodations or they need content to be made accessible for a variety of reasons, the way that copyright works with traditional textbooks can make these accommodations difficult to get. So those are some of the common issues with the traditional textbooks. When we look at OER, and there's an example of an OER textbook on the right here, these are authored by subject experts. So generally the exact same experts that author traditional textbooks, but they can also include students, which are common authors of OER. They can include librarians, and they're updated generally continually. So unlike traditional textbooks where the updates may or may not come as frequently as new materials are coming out within the discipline, OER can be updated as soon as new stuff comes out in the field. So instructors can literally just go in and put in new content the minute a new discovery comes out or whenever they want to update something. And the content is freely available to all users. So from you as a student, you know that you don't have to pay anything extra for this stuff. The instructor doesn't have to pay anything extra. And if you're in a college like Madison College that has a textbook rental program, the college doesn't need to pay anything extra for that either. And then faculty can adapt this content to match teaching styles and learning needs, which then from the student's perspective, students see a customized learning approach. So rather than just getting that textbook or you read a couple chapters from it and you're done, you will be able to utilize this textbook to its fullest potential. And that's where a concept called universal learning design comes in, where the content is made to be accessible for everyone. So any pictures that are in this textbook, there's alt text applied so that if people are using screen readers, it picks up on that text. If there's videos embedded in an e-text, those videos are fully captioned. And if it's a printed edition, anything that's printed in there will also be accessible. So if you do have an identified learning need or accommodation, you can benefit from it. If you're someone who just learns more effectively with these accommodations, those are there as well. So just quickly, I'm going to pop out of here and go in and we're going to look at a couple examples. All right. And these are, the first one is an OpenStax textbook. And this is college algebra. It's one that's actually used at the college. And this book is something that is, OpenStax is a really great resource. This book has a variety of chapters. It has all sorts of auxiliary content. And the first thing you can do is you can view this text entirely online. You can also get printed versions of it. So the printed versions are usually included in the textbook rental program here. And notably, there's interactive content within here. So once you get to reading over the chapters, there's exercises included in the book. And you can go through and interact with the content and kind of see the answers in here. I'm not a math person, so this is beyond me, but it's nice to have this option because people who maybe don't learn math as effectively in a printed book have this online option, or if you're someone who does your homework somewhere else besides your home, you have this option to be able to use this online version wherever you are. So this is an example. You can see they list examples and then the solution is hidden, and then you can click on it to see the example. So OpenStax again is a really great resource for a lot of disciplines. Another example, it comes from a resource called the Open Textbook Library, and this is one where a lot of different places that author content put their open access books. And this one is a public speaking resource, and there's all sorts of different options, different format options. I'm just going to click on online, and this one has a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion aspects built into it, which I'll highlight that in just a moment. But there's all the different chapters are broken up by topic, and so you can click on them and read through, look at the references, and then at the end there's chapter exercises, and a lot of the chapter exercises are interactive. And again, this is something that can also be printed out. And just to highlight something, this is from an instructor who designed a set of modules. She's an instructor here at Madison College, and she designed a set of modules for instructors to use when they're designing their teaching and curricula content. So this is an example of what instructors are doing to make sure that their content that they're developing here at the college is accessible to people out there in the greater world too. Right. So OER student benefits. So we know that OER has financial benefits. One of the most commonly cited statistics is the average cost of traditional textbook materials is about $134 per printed text. For OER, it's generally about $17, and that's usually the cost of printing the textbook. And that translates into a savings per student per printed textbook of about $117. And when we're looking at where students are spending their most amount of money on things and where they're the most unpredictable, it's in textbooks. Generally, tuition is a bit more predictable. Other things in college are a little bit more predictable, but textbooks are one of the most unpredictable costs. When we look at where students spend their textbook savings on, it's generally essentials like housing, food, childcare, transportation, and then taking more credits, which leads to faster graduation, and also investing in the technology that they need to be successful and in their learning and studies. And there's a citation here down at the bottom, lower left, where I get these statistics from for the cost savings. And this is a link, the current data on the broken textbook market. I encourage you to take a look at it. We don't have time right now, but this comes from an organization called Student Pergs, and it's the latest data on where things are really broken in the textbook market and exactly where students are spending money on textbooks. And it's really interesting data. So outside of the financial aspect, when we look at OER from a student success standpoint, OER has the potential to boost students who are often at a disadvantage when they come into college. And this comes from a University of Georgia OER impact study that was done a few years ago. And the citation is at the end of this presentation if you want to take a look at it. But when we look at Pell Grant students, non-white students, and part-time students, they saw that the grade increases among students who used OER in their courses as opposed to the same courses who did not use OER increased statistically significantly. Especially among part-time students, there was a large increase. And then there was a 10% reduction overall in drop, fail, and withdrawal rates among part-time students. So this is a way by using OER that we can really lift up students who might otherwise have a chance at failing or dropping out of college or not being able to persist to graduation. Yeah, I agree. It's a really great way to make an impact. And when you're looking at why choosing OER outside of what we've already talked about, we talked about it being timely and responsive. So when we're looking at the events that have even happened in our society in the past 2 years with COVID from a health perspective and with social justice events that have happened, a lot of this content is really important stuff that our instructors and our students need to have timely access to. And OER allows us to update that in real time. And OER can reflect a diverse student body through visual and written representation. So when you think about a traditional textbooks are generally authored by people who are white, they're generally male, and that's based on the demographics of people who are in a position to be paid and write those textbooks. When you look at authors of OER, those are people who are often being lifted up from positions or given a chance from positions who wouldn't normally be offered the positions to write a traditional textbook. They can often include student voices too, who may not reach the professional levels that the traditional textbooks are at. And these are all critical voices that do need to be included in our education system. And so the OER is a great way to do this so that when our students view our learning materials, they see themselves in it and they can engage with the learning material at a deeper level than they would otherwise. And we have a strong emphasis on equity and inclusion here at Madison College, and OER can be a great way to do that. And it can also be translated immediately into other languages and be made accessible, as we already mentioned. And so we already talked about the OER for diversity and inclusion, but further, when you're looking at equalizing student opportunities at an institution, we talked about it leads to more financial stability. It can center historically marginalized or missing voices. So if you take a history textbook, for example, a traditional history textbook that kind of perpetuates traditional historical narratives, and then you take an OER textbook which takes viewpoints that have not been represented along throughout the traditional historical narrative, and you allow those voices to come forward and be taught in the classroom or students to be exposed to that content. That's a great way for students to experience something that they wouldn't have otherwise. And you can also do this through auxiliary material like quiz banks. You can include photos, scenarios, and using inclusive terminology throughout this as well to make an overall representative viewpoints across your material. And librarians are really leading this, and that's generally because we're really great at locating, organizing, and developing content. And we have a great knowledge of the information ecosystem and a really great comprehensive overview of the campus educational materials out there. So overall, we're just really awesome at organizing things, which is part of what we do. So part of what I've been doing is I'm part of a program called the Spark Open Education Leadership Fellowship Program. And so I've been selected from a group of librarians and other people across the country to really build my leadership skills and create something for the college that instructors can engage with in their OER creation process. And so I'm in my second semester of this semester. And once I graduate, I will have pretty much a really great thing that instructors can engage with, which will be a Blackboard course, as well as I'll have a really great network at the national level of OER champions that I can work with too. So it's a great way for me to put the college on the OER map and then build my own leadership skills. So before I get to questions, there's a group of additional resources here at the end. The top three here are great for you to look at. This top one here, reducing textbook costs to zero. This is a community college that has effectively gone through and made OER their mission and reduced their textbook costs to zero. This is the link that I talked about earlier, the current data on the broken textbook market. And this talks about student PIRGs, so student organizations and their initiatives on making textbooks more affordable. All right, so I did a lot of talking. I'm going to stop sharing. And
we are at time. I'm going to ask everyone either we can have a motion to extend for a couple of minutes if we've got some questions, or if we don't have questions and we kind of just want to digest that, we can not make that motion and not go through the making the motion process. So kind of asking everyone what they would like to do. And VP Shockey, is this a motion to extend time?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
Okay, motion's been made. Do we have a second? All right, and it looks like Sarah Zebel seconds that, and all those in favor, if we can just use the hand raising feature now and keep your hands up, please. And that is the majority, and thank you very much. Put your hands down, and an extra 3 minutes on the clock at 5:01 p.m. And so, yeah, questions, anyone? I'm gonna just start off at Sarah Zhang. You have a question?
Oh, no, sorry. It's just,
Oh no, it's
it's
all right.
more, it's less of a question, more of a comment.
Comments are good.
I guess I really like this new method we're introducing since it really helps with it's just a very portable method of like carrying out information if students are not able to like uh just carry a bunch of textbooks around with them. And I really like that it shows like actual statistics that it helped it with many of the students' educations, including ones that are like working part-time jobs. Because I personally also have a part-time job, so I'm just glad to see I guess.
And VP Shaki, you have a question?
Yeah, my question, I'm just curious to like what degree or frequency are OER materials currently being used at Madison College, or if maybe there's specific programs or departments that have adopted OER materials.
Yeah, there's certain subject areas where OER is more heavily developed, and one of those areas is math. And typically math is more heavily developed because it's a discipline that doesn't change as much. And so our math department this semester is pushing through with using more of, we looked at OpenStax. So they're using more OpenStax books. They're also looking at, there's an open source version of, we're all familiar, I'm sure, with MyMathLab, the access codes. And MyMathLab can be problematic from a cost standpoint as well as from a technology access barrier standpoint, where students often experience difficulties obtaining the codes, they experience problems redeeming the codes, and then persisting out throughout the semester with other issues accessing the codes. So this open source version that the math department is now moving towards takes away that financial aspect, so it's free for the student. It's supported technologically by the math department, so it's not something that's a third-party vendor, and it makes it a lot easier for students to access. So the math department is really a good leader in this field. Another area that's a really great leader in this field is the English department. There's a lot of instructors in there that have a good solid foundation of building OER into their courses using material that's being developed right now. There's certain subject areas where OER just really needs development, especially at the technical college level. And that really takes faculty time, it takes time, and it takes financial resources. And that's kind of where we need more advocacy from the student level at Madison College. Is we need this to move forward to get more financial support from the college, as well as more support for faculty development, as well as more time, like from people like my standpoint, who can support these efforts.
Thank you.
Any other last questions that we'd like to ask? All right, all right. Well, I will speak for all of us and say we super appreciate all of the work that you do to present these to the college and to help make this more available and more known, and it means a lot, and it's a super great thing. You know, me and you have talked about personally. So, and I apologize about my dogs going crazy there for a sec. But yeah, I already have the link open. We're gonna digest this more. Any questions, we'll send them on to your way, and we'll help. Help do our part in continuing to bring awareness to this. I think this is a great thing.
Yeah, certainly,
So,
and I'm happy to come back again. So
yeah,
reach out with any questions you have, and thank you so much for having me tonight.
yeah. Thank you very much. All right. I'm gonna move on and go on down now. Reports of officers, advisors, and standing committees. The executive council and president report. The executive council met earlier today. Did the basics of like GA planning for the following week. But we also talked about continue to talk about planning, spring planning, things that we're doing in our specific uh, standing committees to make sure that we're getting priorities looked at and addressed, and that we're not forgetting dates and stuff like that, and transition documents, and we were working on the constant. We were working on the constant contact. We got stuck up by that code, but we made a plan that we would be. I was kind of trying to aim at getting this done and sent over to you, Advisor Rome, by Monday. And that if I need to ask some questions out to the rest of the team, I can throw out they'll be kind of on the watch on their teams and be able to take a glance and contribute. So um, definitely action plans were at least put in place to not let this drop, so we can make sure that we're staying on as close on track as possible. And that really much summarizes the meeting. It was a good meeting, everybody. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for me. For my report for Executive Council. So, Admin and Finance Committee, VP Shockey, your report.
Yeah, and some of this does overlap with the SAB report, but so that may be a little shorter. But I'll share here. We during our SAB meeting, we received our budget projection for the next year. It's remaining the same as our budget from this year, and we've currently spent 27% of our budget, $7,000, a little over $7,000, and our budget's $28,000. We likely won't spend our full budget and we'll have some left over. But in the coming weeks, the finance committee will likely be looking at the budget and allocating different amounts towards things such as travel, promotion, things like that, things that are outlined in the 3-year plan. So once we have that budget kind of set, we'll share it with Senate and then with SAB, the Student Activities Board. And they will approve it. And then once all the budgets for all the organizations are approved, they'll come to Senate for approval as well. But our budget for next year will likely be pretty similar to this year, minus some minor changes. But as soon as we have that completed, I will share with all of you. So that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, VP Shockey. Moving on down, Legislative Affairs Committee is currently vacant. Team Development Committee, freshly newly appointed VP Linder, do you have reports for us?
Good evening, everyone. I just have a real short one. Wanted to let everyone know that the Student Success Awards Banquet planning is underway. I will be the representative from Student Senate. This year, they have decided to have a representative from each of the student groups plan and execute the banquet. So I will be attending meetings for that, and I'll bring back any information that I have for you guys. That being said, the Student Success Awards Banquet is going to be held Wednesday, April 20th at Truax. And I believe nominations start, let's see, nominations open on Monday, February 14th, I believe, and run through the 21st. The only thing I'm not sure about is the process of that. So I will bring that back when I know. That ends my report.
All right, thank you, VP Lindert. Moving on down, Public Relations Committee, VP LaBella, your report.
So very short, we are working on campaign ads. Gonna start also thinking about ads for our town hall coming up. By campaign ads, I mean like Senate, recruiting new people to run for Senate and then vote when that time comes. And just coming up with more promotional material so people know about us.
Awesome, awesome. We like that. Thank you, VP LaBella. Moving on down, the Senate Advisor Report with Ally Rome.
Hello, and the assistant advisor, I don't know. This is Mary. So thanks for your patience with me. I'm gonna be home probably most days between now through the end of next week with kiddos. But my announcements are basically the same as last week. If you're interested in the legislative seminar, sign up by tonight. I'm gonna send in the registration tomorrow. If you can help with tabling on Monday, awesome. Otherwise, Eric and Sean have it covered, I believe. And then the last thing is if you want to help out with the town hall, just let President Green and I know, because we could use some help. If we don't get any takers, then the exec team will plan it again. But we were really hoping to get some other people involved. If you did want to help out and you still don't feel comfortable coming to campus, that's fine. We really need help with just thinking through what we want to talk about, creating up or coming up with the content. And yeah, so just want a larger, not that the group's gonna be that large, larger group of people to work on this, because I think it's gonna be a good event. So let us know. Looks like Ella might be on board. So that is my report.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Advisor Rome. Moving on down, reports from special and select committees. Student Activities Board, VP Shockey, your report.
Yeah, a lot of what I shared at the SAB meeting, we just went over the budget for the new year. Like I already mentioned, our budget's pretty much staying the same, although we likely won't spend all of it. Some of this I went over, but the largest portion of our budget goes to student help, which includes our stipends. And we, I believe, have less than half of our seats filled, so we likely won't even spend close to what our budget is allocated. But there has been some talk of maybe increasing stipends, so that will likely take a decent portion of our budget next year. So we had a budget update, and I can't recall what else. President Green, if you recall what else was discussed, I think that was the majority of it. I know there was some.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you out. I think that would be the majority of it. I think also good to remind everyone that now that spring semester started, that the SAB meetings are going to be happening on a weekly basis every Friday. So yeah, that's going on. But yeah, would you say that kind of concludes your report?
Yeah, I would say that concludes it. There was, I believe, an update sent out. I don't know if it was discussed during the meeting about the shuttle service and the frequency that it's being used, but I have not yet looked at that, so I can update you all next week.
Yeah, I as I brought that up in the ET meeting, I don't think we and Advisor Rome really knew what those numbers meant. But it is a positive sign that it's data. It's that it's allowing us to start to see what the impact of resuming, even on a very small scale, the shuttle service. So more info to really to come, I would think, is the best answer. But yeah, definitely.
That does conclude my report, though, to your question there.
Perfect, VP Shockey. All right, moving on down. Racial Equity Committee is currently vacant. Textbook Affordability Committee, President Green, VP Shockey. Do you want me to take this? I'm gonna say that there has not been any meetings since like last Monday. I think last Monday was the last meeting that we like. That's something like that. We didn't get the chance to go. We were engaged on campus. Um, but yeah. So more information will come at the next when the next meeting happens, and we have something to provide. So moving on down, I'm gonna go to Public Safety Advisory Committee. Senator Willis, do you have a report for us?
No report.
All right, thank you, Senator Willis. And then reports from regional and metro campuses. Reedsburg is currently vacant. Watertown is currently vacant. Portage is currently vacant. Fort Atkinson is currently vacant. And I'm gonna let the Goodman South report here go before I let you have that ask your question here, Senator Zebel. So Goodman South, Senator Zhang, do you have a report for us?
No report.
All right, Senator Zebel, question.
Yeah, did you skip the Wisconsin Student Government section under Public Safety Advisory?
The
Or is that
copy
just not on?
that I have that was on the last GA agenda. Hopefully we removed that
All right, my bad.
this one.
Gotcha.
But yes, that would have been there. So you have a good eye. So good job on that, buddy. All right. So moving on down, reports from College Assembly and Shared Governance Councils. College Assembly Senator Chardelli is not with us right now. So I will give that report since I was at that meeting yesterday. I think open educational spotlight on the writing center, and I really think that was. I really think that was it. The majority of the seemed like meeting was back and forth.
It was a first read on changing or formalizing the policy if the co-chair of college assembly steps down, and a
Yes.
spotlight on college facilitators.
Oh yeah, and yep, good. That's why I check it by ear, guys, Rome. So yes, that is what went on yesterday at the college assembly, and that will conclude my report. Moving on down to the academic council, Senator Zhang, do you have a report for us?
No report.
All right, thank you very much. And Diversity and Community Relations Council is currently vacant. Facilities Planning and Investment Council, Senator Willis, do you have a report for us?
No report. We meet next Wednesday.
All right, thank you, Senator Willis. And then moving on down, the Finance Council is currently vacant. And then Information Technology Council, Senator Zebel, do you have a report for us?
Oh yes. So we had a technology forum today. About like 100 people showed up, so it's pretty decent sized. Pretty much just went over everything we've done, who's been a part of it, and I felt like it was pretty successful. It just ended before Senate started, so it went pretty much all day. But yeah, other than that, like I said, next meeting is February 10th, I believe, if I'm correct. So no report till then.
All right, thank you, Senator Zebel. And moving on down to Institutional Effectiveness Council, VP Shockey, do you have a report for us?
No report. We've not met since last meeting, but we meet next Wednesday, so I'll have a report next GA.
All right, next Wednesday. Thank you very much, VP Shockey. And then Professional Development Council is currently vacant. And then Student Affairs Council, VP Labella, do you have a report for us?
I do not right now. I did have to miss the last meeting due to illness, but once they post the minutes, and they usually take a video too, I will review that material and then have a report when that's available to me.
Sounds like a plan, VP LaBella. Thank you very much. And we have no unfinished business from last meeting. So moving on down to the new business, discussion of 2022 to 2025 3-year plan goals. And I'm going to hand this one off to VP Shockey to lead the discussion. So VP Shockey?
Yeah, so as I mentioned during last GA, the Finance Committee is looking for some input from all Senate members regarding the 3-year plan, the goals that we have. So if you look at the 3-year plan, our goals are kind of, you could maybe think of it as like our long-term agenda, issues we want to address, and yeah, just goals that we have as Senate, things we want to work on. So our current goal is racial equity, student outreach and engagement, and then inclusivity in Senate. Those are our current goals, and moving forward as we draft the new 3-year plan, we're looking kind of for input on whether or not we've accomplished those goals, what our new goals should be moving forward. Maybe new issues have risen that we should address. So we're kind of looking for input outside the Finance Committee, whether or not people have ideas or suggestions or just brainstorming. So I don't know if we should do suspend Robert's rules or just have a free discussion, or kind of the best way to.
We could definitely do that. With 15 minutes on the clock, if there's a motion made, we definitely could do that.
I think we could also keep it to 15 minutes, but just I don't know if we necessarily need hands raised, or we could just do a formal discussion as well. I guess I'm kind of unsure.
Well, I do think one thing definitely needs to be made clear before we discuss is where we currently stand with the 3-year plan now, or as of that we created last year, and where we stand on it. And I just want to make it clear that is currently ongoing. That has been something that myself, Advisor Rome, E-Team has been actively working on, trying to make sure that we're addressing that 3-year plan, and then finding ways to either come to a neutral. We've covered an initiative. We can explore new initiatives or sustainability for something that would be an initiative that would really be more of a long-lasting initiative, like something like textbook rental, for example. So that's where we kind of stand right now on kind of a basic summary. I'm gonna see the question. I see 2 questions. One, I'm gonna let Sarah Willis. She's got her hand raised. You got a question?
I move to suspend Robert's rules.
All right, awesome. A motion's been made to suspend Robert's rules. VP LaBella, is that a second?
Yep.
All right, and the second's been made. All those in favor, please use the hand raising feature now. Awesome, and Robert's rules has now been suspended. So talk openly. I know, Steve, you had a question about, is there a visual? I don't know if
Yeah, but do I gotta say it? I mean, is there a visual? Do we have like a piece of paper or something like written down, like something I can see?
in terms of the
the
current
question.
3-year plan, or
Yeah.
well, I would refer to the SharePoint site, and or the Student Center website. I believe it was last put on there.
Yeah, so you guys didn't write something up talking about it at all? It was just discussion in the head?
I believe that maybe was a plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you like to know? I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it was more just like a visual just to look at. and see what.
I think Eric is visual like I am, so it does help to sometimes see the
Yeah.
numbers, so we at least know what we're talking about, or if we're gonna try to make comments, at least have an idea of what we're commenting on.
Yep, so I found the PowerPoint that was presented last year. I can let me turn my other monitor on. I can share that. It has the very short version of each goal. Let
Thank
me-
you so much.
Yeah. There we go. It's not showing anything right now, but why this isn't showing up?
Here we go.
So this was racial equity. It was about doing some research, examining the programs, expanding them, and providing opportunities to learn about race and equity. I'll share the other two quick unless you want to go through them one by one.
Well, does anyone have any questions about the first goal, racial equity?
And we want to change this one from racial equity to, or do we want to keep this one? Like, is there like, where's yours written? That's what I was kind of putting them side by side and just seeing. That's kind of what I was referring to as a visual. So what do
So
we want to change?
I think it's up to you. I would suggest not 100% moving on from a goal unless you feel like you've accomplished some of the things. I think this has been really tricky with the turnover of chairs. It's had 3 or 4 different co-chairs or chairs of the committee since it started in fall 2020. So it's been hard to kind of build up momentum to get stuff done.
Yeah, and I would say in reality, the fact that we had it as a co-chair position has actually allowed it to probably stay going a little bit longer, as to where its current state is we're trying to make sure that we can continue to have meetings where students can join senators and talk and move forward with this. So, Caitlin was the last co-chair on this, but it has been tricky. But I don't know.
Okay, so we didn't create any new goals yet.
No, this is last year's.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought you guys created goals already, and you were gonna. Okay. Okay, I'm on the page now. We're on the same train.
They're at the beginning of writing the new 3-year plan.
So are these goals actually implemented or in the process of being implemented?
These are the current goals that are in our 3-year plan right now. These aren't anything that like we've drafted up yet for the new 3-year plan.
Well, the reason I asked that was because like under strategy 3, it says promote identity-based student clubs and organizations. I was just trying to figure out if we are or are we planning to do anything in that vein. I mean, I know each time, for example, if there is, we'll say an identity-based month or something that comes up, activities are planned, and at least I'm trying to find out whether or not we're actually participating.
I don't believe any of this has been
Okay.
done.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yep.
I would say there's been aspects of it that have been
There has been some research done.
But yeah, these were the action steps that, unfortunately, we haven't fulfilled all of the action steps that we had intended to lay out.
Does that mean it rolls into the next 3-year plan, or you're looking at potentially just clearing this off the board and doing something different?
I don't think it would be a good idea. I don't think it would be a good idea to rule out anything, but I also don't think it'd be a good idea to, like I just referenced the textbook affordability committee. I mean, our main goal with initiatives is to bring awareness to something, try to help, lift it up, and then in a lot of ways, the college helps to continue to keep it going with sustained efforts from other areas of the college. This is something that obviously the rest of the college is fully embracing, diversity, equity, inclusion, and I still feel very strongly that the only way we make real change here is if everybody, including students, are looking at this through the same lens. So, but again, I really think that the drive of Student Senate more or less is what do the students want? What do the students feel that are issues that need to be um, addressed? That's why this discussion is happening. Because we need to gain input from senators, but we need to gain input from students, and you need to figure it out. Does that help? Did that answer any of the questions, Senator Willis?
Not really, but I'm okay
All right.
because it
Well,
just
I
means that we
apologize.
need to do something. That's the only thing I was trying to do is figure out, did we need to start trying to figure out if we needed to do something, because we have had students express their concerns in this area 2 years ago, and I was just concerned that maybe it could be something as simple as just being interviewed by the Clarion and updating the student body that this is one of the initiatives, and ask the students to give us input. I don't know, but I mean, it just seems like we need to do something.
I
Thank
have
you.
some ideas of how to make some things happen, particularly around like getting student input about what they might want to see. But I don't think it's realistic to accomplish all of these this year. So,
And no, I didn't think no, and unfortunately, I was thinking that what we were doing was getting started with this, not that we're trying to finish it. So
yeah.
that was sort of the reason why I sort of started the conversation. I'm sorry. But if you want to go ahead so that we don't waste the whole 15 minutes just looking at this one slide, because you have multiple ones, I think I'm okay. I don't know if anybody else had any questions, but I just think, so thank you.
VP Shockey, I mean, you did have your hand raised, and Robert's rules was suspended, so that's why not.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna agree with what Senator Willis said. I think we've done some things, like I know the diversity training with Lucia Nunez and things like that. But I think because the racial equity committee has been so up and down, I think it would be smart to maybe keep this goal or maybe just adjust it slightly. But I think we still have a lot to accomplish with it. So.
Yeah, I like the goals, but they might need to be changed around. Like the second goal, are we not doing a good enough job of student outreach engagement that we should put it down 1 to 3?
Sorry.
Or should we move it back up to 1 because we're not doing a good enough job?
I don't.
You know,
Are you are you under the idea that they're prioritized right now? Because they're not.
They're not.
oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
they overlap with each other. Really, they all overlap with each other. So they're all of equal importance.
So from last year, here's another goal. Student outreach and engagement. So expanding in-person awareness when permitted. So that was marketing campaigns, hosting events, trying to get out to the regional campuses, and then online presence. So doing more social media training with the PR committee, monthly newsletter, traffic to the virtual office, and Senate videos. This goal I feel like is probably the most worked on of the 3 that were set last year, especially with, the town halls that was in person and online. I think the PR committee and VP Labella have just been doing an awesome job with print and online advertising. The monthly newsletter, I think, is going to be really good. It's looking good. We just need to send it out soon. So, if anything, the strategies would definitely have to change because I think those have been not, I mean, I don't know if you can say you're done with on-campus promotion, but I think it needs more maintenance than startup, if that makes sense.
If no one has anything, thing that they would like to say, or share, let's take a look at the other initiative, the last one on the last slide.
So inclusivity in Senate, that is reviewing documents and norms. So, oh, I guess no, this has not been done. Just looking at the way things work, seeing if there are ways to improve, basically. Strategy 2, recruiting students who represent the diverse student body. That primarily the goal is to network with other campus groups. At this point, we just need to recruit, period. And then strategy 3, provide opportunities for Senate members to discuss equity. I think some good stuff was done over the summer. We lost a little momentum there. And then we lost a VP who does the training. So that makes it a little harder. So I think there's still some opportunity to do a little bit of strategy 1, reviewing the documents and norms. I still think that can happen. And if you all determine some changes are needed, that can happen before the next group comes in May. I've kind of planned a couple different topics to bring for discussion, whether that's a separate group or happens in GA. I think I'll leave that up to the exec team to determine if there's time. So.
Yep. Really, it just comes down to that this has been a very up and down rocky road. Trying to continue to have either VPs in positions. We get them in a position, things happen that are out of everyone's control, and it just, the process doesn't go as fast as we had. I mean, I'm gonna say for me, I had thought maybe it'd go a little bit faster, and I had to learn like a little bit of a lesson there. But is I think our heart's still in it, everyone. We just need, again, we need to get membership up, because if we have membership up, then we can continue to provide awareness, which awareness helps us continue to be more, continue to engage within the college and the groups within the college. So it's just been a rocky road. So don't let that get you down, bum you out. I think we could kind of take some of these that we've gotten done on some of the first 2 initiatives, and I would say the second and the third initiative, maybe clear out some space, combine a couple things within them together, possibly. And yeah, but it's still, I think, we're very much a work in progress. But yeah, it does. I think it leaves good question that always need to be answered. What do students think need to happen, or what are student issues that need to be addressed? We found a lot of that out with the prioritization for the shared governance. I think that really provided a lot of information as to what students were thinking. If we had some more of that, there was the results of that would definitely be. We're hoping that that's what the constant contact and the newsletter can start to provide some data. Um, yeah. What's everyone thinking? I mean, again, there are no Robert's rules right now, and we have it at least till 5:45 for their technically supposed to go back in, though we didn't specify that 15 minutes was going to be so that. But what's everyone feeling?
One of the things I think with inclusivity in Student Senate, we need to maybe, I don't know if we need to do it in Wolfpack Connect or put it in Clarion, but we need to invite all students to let them know that if they wanted to attend, that they are free to attend without being members, because I don't think the majority of the student body is not aware of that. And normally when they come, they're only coming to complain because they're not aware that they can come to try to get to know us, to try to be a part of the process, to figure out if they want to join. And I think if we actually just reach out to them, and maybe that might entail finding out when the different orgs have their meetings and somebody from Student Senate attending the meeting and extending that invitation to the organizations that they belong to, whether it's one of the identity-based orgs or whatever. But I think we need to be a little bit more vocal. And again, of course, I'm hiding behind my computer screen, so don't mind me, because I think we can do this virtually too if we need to. But I think we need to be a little bit more proactive in being seen by the student body as far as us being members. And I remember, I think in the past I had suggested that maybe we consider having a meeting based out of each campus at, I apologize, at different intervals, maybe once a semester, but just sort of try to have it so that they know that we exist and we're not like the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, but we are real and we're approachable. Because I think a lot of students don't really get that, especially because of the pandemic and with there being partially virtual. A lot of things happening virtually, but just making them aware that if they wanted to pop in to the meeting, that they have access to do that. And I think right now they don't know that they have that opportunity.
And I hear what you're saying, Sir Willis, and I'll tell you just that due to time constraints, we really would not be able to get into the long discussion. I think on off of the GA though, we would have a very good discussion to hear that a lot of these things are being executed and tried and continuously being worked. It comes down to if we have something, we need to make sure if we have an event or if we have something like their virtual office, students can pop into a virtual office, talk to you, get to know your senator, or the constant contact, the newsletter. There will be I'm betting there will be links to the GA meetings or events that give it more opportunities for students to get to know us and to get to know the organization. But yeah, we're trying, but it is a valid point that you're making nonetheless. VP Labella.
A lot of doom and gloom. So one thing I want to kind of bring up is that we had an amazing turnout at our town hall.
We did.
Like, I did not expect the amount of people we had there. And I think that gave me personally some momentum to keep building on that, because we learned a lot of really good lessons that first time around. And I think once we start officially planning for the new town hall, I think that's something that's really going to help us connect with other students in this weird space that we're in, just showing how eager people were to be there. So I'm pretty excited about that, and just wanted to remind everybody of that we're not totally out of touch, not yet.
Yeah, positive vibes always. Yeah, we're not down and out. It is 5:45. I know we haven't even touched on new potential ideas for 3-year plan, but keeping with making sure we're staying on track with the agenda, I'm gonna probably try to start this back up again. But I would. Does anyone have any last comments that they would like to say before I do that?
You're the best president.
Well, I certainly try to be, but one day at a time. All right, so thank you. Now I'm gonna open up my thing back up here, and moving on down. Non-business housekeeping. We do not have any. And then announcements. Office hours have been reinstated starting this week. I saw some senators put in office hours. I put some in today myself. So it's great to see. Please make sure that you're keeping that up. You guys always do a great job with that. Please send all reports if you have one to our awesome Senate communications coordinator, Senator Zebel. And last but not least, make sure you're checking your Outlook, your Teams, your emails, notifications, whatnot, yada yada yada. Same old from every meeting, a GA meeting we're having. We're gonna keep that spiel going. But just make sure you're keeping an eye out for contact communication. So with that said, VP Shockey.
I'm just gonna move to adjourn.
All right, and motion's been made to adjourn. And VP Labella, is that a second?
Yep.
All right. All right. All those in favor, please use the hand raising feature now and keep your hands up. And that's the majority. Awesome. And we are officially adjourned at 5:48 p.m. Have a great rest of your weekend, week, whatnot. Stay safe, stay warm. And if you need anything, I'm always here. But other than that, I'm gonna say goodbye, everyone, and have a great rest.